Hey, what is up everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today's video will be the start of my MongoDB crash course. This video will be for everyone that is learning to use MongoDB because of the MERN stack, MERV stack, mean stack, all of those stacks that uses MongoDB, or if you're just looking into getting to know the technology. So what would we find in this course? Let's take a look. So first of all, today's video is the introduction and installation. So we are here right now. Then we have a video on how the basic CRUD operations of MongoDB looks like, and we'll learn about how to navigate through the shell. Then we'll look at schemas and relationships in a NoSQL database. We'll talk a little bit about the shell versus the driver and when to use which one. I should also mention there's something like MongoDB Compass. This is the user interface for the shell, but we won't be using that in this course. And then we can start with all of the CRUD operations, going a little bit in depth with them. So the first operations is going to be create. There's going to be 2 videos, and then read is going to take up the most parts, because reading and filtering and retrieving the data in specific formats is important to know how to do. So then we have the update operations, which is two part, and then delete, which would be only 1. And then after this course, I might put up some project, which I will build a little bookshop or e-commerce shop type of thing where I would use Node.js and MongoDB. So without further ado, let's continue. Let's look at a few things in the slides. The first thing I want to look at is what is the difference between NoSQL versus SQL. So here at the top, I show you how a NoSQL type structure would look like, and this is how a SQL structure would look like. So if we look at the NoSQL, we can see this white part will be the server that is running the database, and under this database we find multiple collections. You can have as many collections as you want. Inside of these collections you get documents. So a database would have a name, let's say shop, so both of these names are shop, and then collection would be something like user info or stock info, and then the documents will be each one of those individual data entries. And the same for a SQL database. Instead of using collections, they use tables. So these of you who have worked with SQL before, this would be more intuitive looking at it like this. So instead of having documents, you have rows and columns, and you relate data in certain ways. We'll look at how you relate data in a NoSQL database. But let's answer the question, what is MongoDB? So MongoDB is a cross-platform, document-oriented database program. Classified as a NoSQL database program, MongoDB uses a JSON-like document with optional schemas. MongoDB is developed by MongoDB Inc. and licensed under the server-side public license. Okay, so I took out a few words from that is really important to understand. The document-oriented NoSQL, we looked previously up here about what NoSQL looks like, and now these object-orientated JSON-like syntax and optional schemas should kind of make sense from the NoSQL aspect. So without further ado, now that we kind of have a broad idea of what MongoDB is, let's quickly install it. I'm going to go through the installation for Windows. I would link down in the description for Mac and Linux. Let's get going. Okay, so I would open my web browser, and we can go to mongodb.com/try/download and community. I would put this link down in the description as well, so we'll go to this link, and then we can click on this little button over here. It should load on cloud, but we can click on this server button, and over here we can select the MongoDB community server. We can click download, and this is going to take a while, so I will be back when I'm done with my download. Okay, so now that we are done with the installation, let's walk through the wizard. So we'll say next, we accept the license that no one ever reads. We go to custom, and at custom we click on the browser button down here, and then we have to go typing down here. So in our C drive, we go to /MongoDB / just like this. So in our C drive, we create a folder named MongoDB, and we can say OK. And we say next. Here I want to deselect the install MongoDB as a server. So this means every time my computer would start up, MongoDB would start as well, and we don't want that. So we can just uncheck that and say next. Here I'm going to deselect MongoDB Compass because I already have that installed. This is just the GUI tool I talked about previously. It just makes working with the shell a bit more user experience with the interface. So I'm just going to deselect that. We'll be working with the shell, so no need to install that. And next and install. Okay, so once this installation is done, I'm going to go straight into a notepad. We can say finish right over here. I'm going to go into a notepad, and in this notepad I just type this script, echo auth cd into the directory you just created, and then inside of that bin. So if we would go to our directory, we can see MongoDB was created here, and inside MongoDB there's a bin right over here. So we navigate into that folder, and then we say start the mongod.exe package, and then we timeout, and then we start the mongo.exe, and this will run the server and start up the shell for you by just clicking on that file. So let me just show you again. I saved this file as a bat, so save as mongo start.bat, just like that. Boom, save. It's already there, but it's okay. So now I have this. It looks like little wheels running. So if I were to click on that, it would start my server and then open my shell for me. And here is my shell. So once inside of the MongoDB shell, we can do the following. Just going to clear all that. I just pressed Control L. And inside of the shell, we can look at what databases we already have running on the server by typing in show DBs. And we can see these three: admin, config, and local. And this is just standard coming with MongoDB, and we're not going to touch anything over there. So to create a new database, we can just simply say use, and then we call this database shop. And now if I were to say show DBs, you'll see it's still not there. And the reason for this is we haven't added any data to it yet, so it won't add it there. So if we go to, when we said use shop, it navigated into this shop DB. You can see switch to DB shop. So if I were to say show collections inside of this shop DB, we can see there's no collection. So remember the picture I showed you previously. So now let's quickly add a document inside of this collection. And I'm going to call this collection db.userinfo. So we would say DB, so for the current DB, which is shop. And then we want to create a collection called user info, and then we just say insert one. This is a command you'll learn about later. And user info would be name. You can see it's in this JSON syntax. We don't need the quotation marks at the start, just at the value. So here we can say Lloyd, and we can say channel is the full stack junkie. Just like this, and then we can close that up and insert one document. So now we can see acknowledged is true and inserted ID is equal to this object ID with this string right over here. So now if I were to go up arrow key and I can say show collections, I can now see there's a collection called user info, and this is equal to this collection I just inserted a document into. So now inside of this collection I can say db.userinfo, and I'm just going to find everything that's inside of this collection, and then I'm just going to print it out with the format pretty. So you'll learn about all of this syntax I'm typing in here. I'm just showing you how I'm moving about. So this is the new document that was added. So now we can add another one and just change a few things. We can call this Brad, and channel is traversing media. Just like that. Now I would add it. It would add a new document for us. I'm just going to clear. And I'm just going to print everything out. Now we can see that here's the first document added to the user info, and here is the second one. So you can see both of their IDs was self-generated by MongoDB. So this is like the auto increment in different databases. So each one is unique inside of this collection. So this is about it for this video. In the next videos, I would be going down the list mentioned previously, and we'll look at some basic CRUD operations when using MongoDB. So we'll start working with a bit more data, and it's going to be fun. So I hope I see you in the next one. Thanks for sticking with me, and if you had any troubles whatsoever with this video, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll get to you as soon as possible. But that would be all. Thank you. Cheers, guys.